Hello, everyone. We are here for the very first organizers meeting of the 2015 International NodeBots Day. Uh, this is designed to allow everyone to sort of gather information and knowledge about what they're going to be doing for the NodeBots Day event, as well as also trying to answer any questions, handle any sort of items that might be new. I know that this year we have about 50% new people who haven't run a NodeBots Day at all, and then 50% return. So we got a good blend of people, which would be really awesome and exciting. I'm Chris Williams. I'm the chair, head, goofy person who's driving the international event this year. Also the godfather of NodeBots, so it's kind of cool to come back and do that. I'm the person responsible for the serial port, for better for worse, probably the most thing you're going to have a hard time with during the day of, and sort of coining the term NodeBots. So, hooray! That's that. Right off the gate, right now we have Glenn, we have Louis. Wow, you're up early. We have Rob, we have Carlo, we have Alejandro. Do you five have any questions right off the gate? We've said nothing at all. Do you have any questions right off the gate?
Not right now.
Success.
I have a question, Chris.
Go for it.
Um, there's an already defined schedule for the event, or maybe I don't know. We can do whatever we want forever. Um, um, it's on notebooks related.
So that's a great question. What I'm going to do is I'm going to defer that for a couple minutes. How about that? And then we're going to walk through what a normal NodeBots day has been, and you can either take from that and build, or just play that out, or do something completely different. It's kind of a loose structure, a semi-structured event, which is every group does its own sort of thing, rather autonomously. You all have full control over what you want to do. If all you want to do is make cupcakes all day long, that is perfectly fine. Ideally, make cupcakes while writing Node, and you've got the first Node cupcake. Hooray! Um, that's perfectly cool, not a problem. It's very lackadaisical, no stress event. It's not a hackathon. It's not like who comes up with the greatest and controls the world. It's designed to be welcoming and inviting for as many people as possible. As such, it's kind of a relaxed, chill type atmosphere, more so than a you show up, you get stuff done, magic happens, disrupt, all those fun words. So uh, we got a whole bunch of people joining in. Cool. So Alejandro, I'm going to go through like from what I've done, what I've seen, what has gone on in years past, sort of how the day works, any sort of prep work that's needed. Here's the details, brain dump type thing. Does that work? I'm going to assume yes. Okay, cool. So first and foremost, July 25th, 2015 is the target date for the NodeBots Day. Now, July 25th happens for all of us around the same time, but across the world at different times. So that's kind of a cool thing. So the sun will never set on that day on NodeBots, which is kind of an amazing achievement. I think we had that last year as well, but this year I want to make sure that the sun never does set on NodeBots for that full July 25th. Hooray! And so we're going to have events going throughout the entire world all through the day. So it's much more than 24 hours. It's going to be, I think it rolls out to about 36 hours total if you follow the clock around the world. And so let's talk about any individual event. So as I mentioned to Alejandro's question, it's a fully autonomous event. Each one of you are empowered, inspired, given full control over your own event. You can do whatever you want. You can take my advice. You can ignore my advice. You can do whatever you want. That's kind of the cool thing about the event. It's not a structured event. It's a semi-structured or loose structured event. Leading up to the event, what you're going to want to do is set up a website, ideally a website. You can just have something very simple where you just point to the NodeBots Day 1 and list yourself in the README file. Right now we have Montevideo, Ann Arbor, and that's it. So please go in and update the README file for your 2015 location so that way we can help promote them and get them out. I'm going to add in as many as I can from the spreadsheet that we have so that way at least there's a base set that's in there. And then we'll go from there and promote. One of the things you're going to want to have is a sign-up page. We recommend Tito, just because I love Tito, ti.to, ticket in, ticket out. You don't have to use Tito at all. You can use whatever you want. People have used Eventbrite because they're familiar with it. People have used just Google Spreadsheet. That's perfectly fine. I would suggest getting some sort of an idea of how many people and who is going to attend. This just gives you a base list to make sure that like you have more than just yourself showing up to a NodeBots day. That's perfectly fine if you do. It's just not. I don't want you to go buy a whole bunch of supplies and have just yourself there, unless that's something you want to do, and that's cool. In the sign-up page, one of the questions that we normally get asked is, do I charge? Should I charge? There are mixed opinions about this. You don't have to charge. It's completely up to you. And once again, you're in control of your own destiny with this. I personally charge for the events a nominal fee, something that isn't preventative, like 5 or 10 American dollars because I'm in the U.S., and appropriate currency to wherever you are. By all means, don't go charge 5 American dollars in Australia because nobody's going to have 5 American dollars just hanging around. So in your local currency, just I'd suggest charge a little, and that's not to penalize or prevent people from coming. It's more to ensure that they come. If you charge $1, people will show up. If you charge $0, you're going to have about a 90% attrition rate, which means that 90% of the people just won't show up the day of. It's a human factors thing. If they feel like they have something in there, they will show up. It's amazing. And so even if you take that money and give it right back to them the second they enter the door, that's perfectly cool. Sad but true. Yes, very sad but true. That's perfectly fine. You're more than welcome to do that. If you want to take the money and buy pizza and beer or whatever is appropriate for your group, that's okay too. If you want to take the money and use it for supplies, that's okay too. If you want to take the money and put it in your pocket, okay, that's cool. You are in charge of your own destiny there. You don't have to charge. You can charge. Those are sort of the walkthrough things there. Stickers, you can get stickers with it too. That's a great call. So if you have cash, it affords you some liquidity. If you don't have cash, you've got to get all of it from sponsorships. So the sponsorships is the next tranche. So once you have a sign-up page, you get to know how many people are coming. Hooray. One of the things I'd suggest in your sign-up page is, would your company be interested in providing a small amount of sponsorship? Just put that as a question in your sign-up form. That allows somebody to say, yeah, I think maybe my company can help out a little bit. And then it gives you the ability to email them back and say, hey, we'd love like $100 or some amount to help out with the event. We'll give you credit. We'll put your name on the site or the registration form. You can figure out 100 ways to make them feel happy, even just 5 minutes in the beginning to talk. Companies want to gain access to the people who will be at the NodeBots Day event. People at the NodeBots Day event possibly need jobs. Hooray, the circle is complete. If you get sponsorships, it affords you to do, and you don't have to get sponsorships, but if you get sponsorships, you can get food, beverage, and supplies. Hooray. You don't have to. If the other strategy in order to avoid that is let people go get their own food and beverage, make it well known that it's a BYOFB, bring your own food and beverage. And then you can also go so far as to BYOS, bring your own supplies, which is to allow everybody to bring their own supplies. One thing to note, if you're going to go down the BYOS route, bring your own supplies route, just as a forethinking type thing, make sure you bring extra supplies for yourself, because what's going to happen is you as the organizer, you're going to be running around, people are going to want your help, they're going to assume you know everything, which is fine. We'll have support group and support staff day of to help you out with that. They'll come to you, I showed up with nothing, I want to do something, help. So I'd have on hand a couple Arduinos, a couple just spare LEDs, and just dole out, here, I'm lending to you an Arduino, I'm lending to you the LEDs, I'm lending to you a breadboard, please go ahead and use that. If you're first time doing NodeBots and first time organizing NodeBots Day event, you probably don't have any supplies, you got two options. You can either go buy them or you can go borrow them. The buy option, what I generally suggest doing, and this sort of just is a great blanket statement, is look up Seed Studio, Seeed Studio, Studio. They have an ARDX kit, Arduino Experimenters kit. And the beauty of it is Anna Gerber has converted that into Node-ARDX. So if you go to node-ardx.org, it gives you all the experimenter kit instructions, but using Johnny 5, which is fantastic. So you can just, if this is your first time doing NodeBots, I'd suggest run through that before getting to the event. It'll make you feel Brisbane talent representing. Woo woo! You have the ability then to know what's going on and present as if you've been doing this for decades. Nobody's been doing it for decades because it hasn't existed that long. But it also gives you a core set of parts. The other one, if you're in more the U.S. side of the world, and just have, who did those? Anna Gerber did those tutorials in Node. Yep. If you're in the U.S., the other option would be this one, which is the SparkFun Inventors Kit. The difference between this and the ARDX kit is this costs $30 more. That's it. This also has a harder case, and I think they've updated their material so it no longer matches the ARDX. But this is another option. It comes with everything you need. So if you want to get a kit that's nicely organized, this is probably your better route. If you just want the parts, the ARDX kit, there you go. Links in there. If you want to get the ARDX kit from Seed Studio, it's about $60 versus the SparkFun, which is about $100. US dollars is all I know for right now. But that's that. Seed Studio ships out of Shenzhen, so for some of you who are on that hemisphere or on that side, it might be faster and easier to get access to that than the ones SparkFun's out of Colorado and Adafruit's out of New York City. So if Adafruit's another one, they have experimenter kits as well. That gets you your supplies, and if you just get that, you're perfectly fine. The other option is to get, hold on, let me find, so there's a couple other options, and since, well, I'm sort of the NodeCopter and NodeBots, these things up here, if you were at JSConf, you got one of these. These are the Parrot mini drones. They are the rolling spider mini drones. They can be picked up at any Apple store or purchased or procured online. Not a traditional NodeBot. It's a NodeCopter, but a lot of fun to play with, and it's fully accessible by Node. A lot more accessible to use and have and play with than the big AR drones. So this is like the first year we could actually do accessible walk-up, play with NodeCopter events at a NodeBots Day. So that's an option if you want to pick up one of those. They are a lot of fun to play with. They also have swarm technology built in, so if you want to swarm them, you can do that. And they're already bridged down to like a Logitech remote and keyboards and all that other jazz. So that's an option. ARDX kits are an option. And then if you're just starting out, I would stick in that realm. If you want to, let me go grab, hold on a second, you're going to. The other option would be Pavel. I don't know if any of you know Pavel. I'll put a link to Pavel. Pavel has SumoBot Junior kits. I think it's just SumoBot Junior. I know if you go to pavelbot.com, it'll redirect you, PAWELBOT.com. It'll redirect you over to sumobotkit.com. SumoBot Kit is an open source robot kit that's for laser cutting, designed for laser cutting, but can also be done via 3D printing. Basically, it comes as like this sort of an arrangement. Gives you all the parts minus the Arduino to create a SumoBot. And the nice thing about this is at your event, you can do a SumoBot, which will allow your attendees to essentially do either SumoBot Soccer, where they collaboratively work together to get it into a goal. You just get a ping pong ball, and that acts as the mechanism. So the cool thing is they get to build it. They get to build it all the way through with the servos and these, and then hooray, and then, oh, audio dropped out. Someone got a link. Can everyone else hear the audio? Okay, the heads are nodding. Glenn, it's in the there's in the chat room. There's also the viewer if you. It's being recorded, so we can just go back and review it. Oh, it's fine. Solved it. So the SumoBot kit allows you to then build and do competitions. You can do the soccer, which you just get a field being just a flat piece of land, and then you let people drive the SumoBots and run forward through there. The other one is SumoBots. You put two into a ring. A lot of fun to like WWE announce it, and entering the ring is blah 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 from the left side and then from the right side, and they shall battle to the death. It's not as exciting as like a WWE, but it is a lot of fun. Everybody gets excited, they get engaged. The more you stoke it, the more people really enjoy it. If you have kids, they just go all crazy about it. And you'll find that in that, the people who are using the Wi-Fi chipsets like the Spark or BLE chipset like the, is it Little Blue Bean, Louis? I can't hear you. Are you? Nope. Nope. Are you on mute? Oh. There's a BLE, Bluetooth Low Energy. I'll try to read his lips and reset it back out. There's a Bluetooth Low Energy. I think it's Little Blue Bean, or it's Little Bean Blue, or it's something like that. Punch Through Design is the company name. Light Blue Bean. There you go. Light Blue Bean. They afford you the ability to go through and create BLE stack capabilities. So you're going to use Noble to do that versus serial port. Hooray. You're going to communicate out, and they'll be able to run through. Those are great because the most obvious attack on a SumoBot is to attack the USB cord and pull it out, and then the bot's dead, and hooray. That's a pro tip. So if you have the USB ones from an Arduino, that's something that most people get tangled up and then win that way. A lot of fun, great time. Those are at the end of the event. Beginning of the event, you're going to want to do, so those are your supplies. That's supply deck A. If you want, the Spark cores are no longer called Spark cores. It's now Particle, PARTICLE.io, just to make things fun. And ESP8266 can also be used, yeah, to do the untethered. There's a whole bunch of different ones. That's the Espruino, right? ESP8266 is more commonly known as the Espruino. No? Nope. Okay. Oh, there's that. Tesla also has a Wi-Fi capability too, or wireless capability, so that's another option that's out there. So you got your supplies, we got tickets going, do a little bit of tweet marketing. Raspberry IO is another option. So you have a whole bunch of options. You got supplies, you figured out whether you want to bring your own supply or encourage people. The other option would be, and this is a valid option, charge them the cost of the Seed Studio kit, and just, or have that as an option where, hey, I'll make sure you get what you need the day you arrive, and you get to take it home with you. A lot of people will do this and will prefer that because they don't know where to start. So you can take the information from this meeting and set up like, hey, there's a $60 ticket, and then you can procure the Seed Studios, have them all there ready to go. Day of, show up, hand it out to everybody. That works ideal if you have a large audience that doesn't have their own supplies. I would strongly suggest making that option available. Another thing you could do is send out the, pairing up. So pay half, and then you get paired up with another group. Great way to just make things accessible. So going from there, we have leading up to the day of. Most important thing you're going to have to find is a venue. This is also where your sponsorships come through. If somebody has checked in the box during registration that my company might be able to support this, the first question you should ask is, hey, do you want to provide space? Space can almost always be the hard part. couple things you're going to want to check for in space. For those of us in the northern hemisphere, we are in summertime, so you're going to want to make sure that the space has air conditioning, or you can open windows. Otherwise, it's going to get very muggy. In the southern hemisphere, you're going to want to make sure it has heat or some way to stay heated, other than just popping a couple capacitors and creating flames from your electronics kit. It's an option, though. So that environmental controls are a necessity. Obviously, electricity is another necessity, and Wi-Fi or internet is going to be a key thing. So you're going to want to make sure those three things are retained. And then once you have your space secured, promote the poop out of your event and where it is and how awesome it is. And hooray! That'll lead up to the day of. The day of, which is 7/25. I've already forgotten it. Yeah, 7/25, July 25th. The way that I recommend and have done with events is bring everybody in, spend the first 5-10 minutes just outlining what the day is going to look like. Normally, I'd suggest do some sort of walkthrough instructional element with everybody. Don't worry about if there's experts in the room or people who have built robots or DARPA specialists there. Do not care. Make everybody flash an LED. What this does is it level sets everybody to at least having accomplished an LED flash. If you haven't flashed an LED yet, make sure you do that beforehand, and make sure before you get on stage that you know you have an LED that works and that everything's set up. The code for the LED flash is on the Johnny 5 website. If you don't want to use Johnny 5, use whatever language or implementation you want. That's perfectly cool. The key with that is you're level setting everyone's expectations. This is the magic we're going to be doing. We're going to walk you through the magic. It gives you a little bit of time. We'll have, to do that, here, I'll actually walk you through sort of what I would suggest. So what I would suggest is, in the room, you're like, okay, everybody take out your kit. Uh-oh. Well, this is going to be fun. This is not a proper kit. See, this is why you do this beforehand. So you'd be like, this is your USB cable. You're going to plug this side into the computer. Much like all USB cables, you're going to have to plug it in one way. It won't work. You'll have to turn it over, plug it in again, and it won't work. And you'll turn it back to the original way and plug it in, and it'll work. The other side goes into your Arduino. Notice the boxy side. You're going to put that into your Arduino. Now, one thing you're going to want to know is that most of the people who have commonly attended a NodeBots event, you'll have two types. You'll have people who have done this regularly and people who have never done this. There's no like middle ground of, oh, I tried it last year and didn't know. So while it may seem funny to explain that, you know, there's a ridge down here and there's a way to put this in correct and not correct, make sure to not skip over that step. Plug this in, make sure everyone has this plugged in. I can't tell you how many times each year the question is, this isn't working, why is this not working? Did you plug it in? Okay, it's not working. It'll happen. It's going to happen to you. Check to make sure the cable's plugged in, and that's why you should go through that. And then go through and say, you know, this is an LED. I'm looking for my Arduino, but I don't have one on my desk. This is an LED. Notice that the long side, there's two sides to this. There's a long side, there's a short side. The long side is what we call the positive side, and the short side is what we call the negative side. So when you plug it in, negative or ground side, so when you plug it into whatever board you have, this is just an Edison with a Arduino breakout, you're going to plug the large pin, the bigger pin, into 13 and the shorter pin into ground. If you want to live dangerously, like I always do, you don't have to put a resistor in line. If you want to do it correctly, you should put a resistor in line. But you get everyone to do this, and then you have them boot up their terminals. And then comes the fun part. Now we're all going to install Node. And you got two options. You can pre-handle the Node discussion of make sure when you arrive you have Node installed. I can guarantee you 25% of the audience will not install Node. So that'll be a thing to just expect. Just expect to have to help people install Node. If you don't know how to install Node, raise your hand afterwards. I'll teach you how to install Node. There's going to probably be somebody who asks the question, well, do I need to install I/O or Node? Just install Node. If you want to make your life easy, install Node 010 and go forward. 012 works sometimes. O10 works all the time and has been around long enough that we know that everyone knows how to make this work. IO, install Node, and then go forward. IO2 doesn't work with serial port right now, to the best of my knowledge. It worked for a little bit and then stopped working. So Noble doesn't work with IO2 at all. If you email them, yeah. Yes, if you do an email send out, make sure that these are the important steps. That would either include getting your supplies, knowing your supplies, as well as also installing Node. Nobody reads the second paragraph. This is a true statement. You all can talk. Save my voice a little. Yeah, all Unos, all Arduino Unos actually now come out of the box with standard Fermata, which is cool. So you won't have to do that installation step. Yep. So you plug this in, you get them to plug that in. Next, they're going to install Johnny 5. npm install Johnny 5. It'll install everything you need. And then run the blinky light. Now, npm install Johnny 5 sounds fantastic. Oh, okay, so someone is using serial port in IO2. Hooray!
Sorry, Chris.
Yep.
So if you buy an Arduino now, it's come with standard Firmware. Right now?
Arduino Unos out of the box come with standard Fermata. You can pull it straight out, plug it in, and it works with Johnny 5.
Awesome.
So, yeah, that is super awesome because that step always killed everybody. The second hardest step is installing Johnny 5 because it installs serial port. Yeah, Sane Smart might require you to do the Fermata install. Good call, Brian. So installing Johnny 5, npm install, it installs serial port, which is a native module. Native modules should all be precompiled for everybody right now. I'm not going to make any changes or releases to serial port. So what that means is it should go out to S3, pull down the appropriate binary, load it in, and move on. That is how it should work. If it doesn't, what it's going to do is try to install via compilation. So if you're on Mac, you need the command line tools for Xcode. If you're on Linux, you need Build Essential for apt-get repos, and then G++ on Yum-based repos. And if you're on Windows, you have a fair amount of steps that include installing Visual Studio and Python. If you have a problem with somebody trying to get serial port on, I'm going to make a strong suggestion. You can either use Chromebooks, thus doing NodeBots, which is a great suggestion from Louis. He'll be there all day long to support it. Or you can Slack me, and I will be available as a resource all day long to support that. I would strongly suggest if you have VMs work too, but even with VMs, you still might have to install Build Essential and that sort of thing. If you run into a point where somebody can't get Node serial port or Johnny 5 installed, send me a message immediately, put that person in contact with me, and done. And just move on. So that's the thing. Node WebKit Electron, Jerome, really? Because I can't tell you, every single ticket we have with serial port basically revolves around can't compile Node WebKit and serial port together.
It's hard to do, but manageable. And if you actually do that for a platform, the people that you will teach don't have to. So basically, if you have time enough to actually check that you can compile for the version you have available for, namely Windows, just the only one who always causes problem, that could solve issues.
Okay, so that's another option. If you're on Mac and Linux, it generally always works out of the box. The Windows is the beast, but that's why we have the precompiled ones. That said, somebody's going to have somebody who shows up with Windows 10, and I'll just be like, sorry, use a real OS. Or Windows 8.1 works perfectly, Windows 8 works perfectly, Windows 7 works perfectly. Anything older than 7, you will get possibly. I've had somebody show up with Windows 95. Sometimes it's better just to say, this machine's great. I'm glad you're still using it. Let's pair up with somebody else and just run with that. So that's another option. Ideally, if you pair people up, somebody should have a working laptop. Brian suggests bringing a couple of old extra Macs. That's a great idea. If you have just laptops or stuff hanging around or compute cycles hanging around, that's a good idea. The other one is the other option, if a laptop is expensive, but you have just monitors and keyboards laying around, pick up either an Edison or pick up a Raspberry Pi. They have enough power to run it, and there are pre-compiled versions up there, and you can pre-compile those beforehand. So you can just hand out Raspberry Pis, people start working, and magic happens. Right. So that's all of that. That should get you through the first 10 minutes, which are the most dangerous 10 minutes of the entire thing. Walk everyone through the blinky light, walk everyone through connecting up the pieces, make sure they have Node installed, make sure they have Johnny 5 installed, and then the next argument is just be creative. Let them go forward. If you have SumoBot kits, then you're probably going to want to give an instructional element about SumoBot kits. The cool thing about the SumoBot kits is you can only build them one way. They're pretty quick and easy to build. You cannot really build them incorrectly. It's just unless they're laser cut wrong, which is a thing and has happened before. But it's basically like that, like that. I have this backwards. See what I mean by you can't build it wrong? That's in there. You screw on the wheels onto the servos, and you're done. So like that, you have a SumoBot kit, and then they can decorate it. If you have kids, googly eyes go a long way for making it awesome, as do pipe cleaners. So I'd suggest if you're going to do SumoBot kits, do that. Allow them to make it creatively theirs. If you have adults, also googly eyes and pipe cleaners go a long way to making it fun. And then they start programming it, so they have to get used to it. Now there's a huge library set. I would hope everyone here knows how to use Google or whatever search engine is your choice. npmjs. Do we use .com or .org these days? I don't know. npm has a huge list of NodeBots projects that are there. GitHub has a whole bunch of projects that are there. And inside the Johnny5/EG folder is a whole bunch of projects that are already built. I'd suggest looking through those and having a couple that, if need be, you can tee that up. Once you have the SumoBots built, that'll take you, let's see, on average it's about 4 hours is what people take to build this, and build it out and make stuff with it, control it with Node, and have fun. Once you do all that, you can start doing your competition, move it into there. If you're doing the Node copters, one of the things I suggest is at the end, do some sort of presentation. The key here is you're going to do a little bit of instruction in the beginning, introduction, instruction, creativity, which is basically them breaking things, blowing things up, all of that magic, and then doing it was in like driving them around, and then sharing it. And one of the key things at the end, and plan your day accordingly. I schedule about an hour, hour and a half at the end for everyone to get up and say, here's what I built. Its name is Bonnie Bot, and it's amazing. And just it gives everyone a chance to talk about what they've done and show off, and it really brings it together. Close out the day with a hooray. Some groups like to go to the bar afterwards. If you have young people joining you, probably not the best idea to go to the bar, but still an option. It's up to you how you want to finish out the day. It could be go get ice cream. That's another option too. So that's sort of the end of the day, and that concludes the NodeBots day. Things that we're doing different this year from years past. If you're a veteran, I am gathering up the people who have done the NodeBots events at JSConf and going to have them available throughout the day in shifts as resources to answer any questions, myself included. So we will be in the Slack channel, so please use the Slack channel as that main pathway. I will not be at an event. I'm just going to be sitting, handling, and fielding any questions that you all have. That'll make it awesome, which will make your lives a lot easier. You're just going to be the local groups handling all of the autonomy and localness of it. And any questions you have, throw back up to us. Any questions? We got one nope. Dairy Queen, Brian suggests. Yes, Dairy Queen's a good one. Cold Stone also.
Yeah, question, Chris.
Yep.
Do we might use Hangouts during the day to say hello to the other cities, or
What was that?
if we are planning to call the other cities to just say hello. This is Buenos Aires. Just how are you doing back there? And just to chat and show the other people that uh, other cities are working on the same thing.
We could do it, having essentially an all-day hangout going on.
Maybe on demand will work.
So if we did it, that's an interesting idea. Haven't thought that one through. I know that we tried that the second year, or maybe it was the first year or second year. One of the problems is in these spaces the internet's not always solid, so it ends up degrading very quickly. If we did since I'm not going to be at a facility, I could have this Hangout on Air or a Hangout on Air up, and then be able to do live support through that, as well as also it'll be dumping to video at the end, and we can compress and video cut it down so that the final result is everybody jumping in, showing off what they're doing, and then conclude at the end as you do the presentations. That's an idea. Let me evolve that idea, though. Does that work?
Yeah, awesome.
The problem I have is I know that the years we've done it, it hasn't worked out very well. I need to figure out a better way to do it. As mentioned by Glenn, you either need someone with a camera, and most times it's going to be kind of boring. So having it up all the day loses a little bit of the luster after about the first 2 minutes. So what we could do is either have everyone just videotape their local, and then we assemble it at the end, and then say, hooray, this was NodeBots Day 2015. Or do sort of like whenever you want, jump on to Hangouts on Air, and then we record it and then dump it out type thing.
Yeah, that's right. We did both of them with no school.
Okay. Any other questions? It was a great question.
I think for the video stuff, it might be cool just to maybe pick out a few other places, like in different parts of the world too. Just set up like, hey, we're in Dayton, Ohio. It'd be cool to talk to the guys in Buenos Aires, and hey, we're both doing this. Maybe do a couple of those throughout the day, so it's not like an all-day thing, but people that are there get to see that they're part of like a thing that's happening all over the place. That would require like a whole big thing all day long.
So that's perfectly afforded, and I'd suggest use Slack as sort of that. Hey, are you ready? Let's sync up. Our group's ready to talk to somebody else type thing. Rob, any reason why we couldn't do it sort of just in time like that?
No, yeah, I think that makes sense. That's kind of what I was saying. Like, just kind of pick a few places, kind of, and organize that between those places themselves would work great.
Should we be using something more open than Slack, so anyone can join without an invite?
For the organizers, no. The reason why we've historically used Slack as for the organizers is the push mechanisms are fantastic versus like an IRC, which you have to set up a ZNC bouncer, and I can guarantee you the ZNC bouncer is going to fail immediately when the event starts. I'll be like, oh yeah, nobody's having any problems, and then I'll do other stuff. So we've sort of settled on Slack in terms of openness and allowing everyone in. You get a lot of noise to signal balance once everybody's sort of in there. See the Node advisory board thing. We can actually convert Slack to be that sort of realm where nobody needs an invite. They just click a button, it sends them an invite, and then they automatically are subscribed. Historically, we've not done that. Is there the question? Is there a value that you think that we might have with that?
Oh, just for people trying to communicate with each other, just an open channel for them to do so.
So we could use the NodeBots IRC channel is there, but if you have people who are new to technology, they won't get or be able to comprehend NS or IRC. So that's one of the barriers that we've seen with IRC. What I could do is, you know what? Why not? If we were to allow everyone to join into, let me see, where is this?
What about Gitter? if we send everyone over to GitHub, they'd just keep the organizers in Slack.
Oh, that's a great idea. How
Thanks.
about I will do that. I will set that up.
It's already actually there. There's a couple of people there and some tumbleweeds.
There you go. Is it on Gitter NodeBots or Gitter NodeBots Day? There's Gitter NodeBots Day. There's 21 people.
Yeah, the NodeBots Day.
Okay. So why don't we say that will be the channel for day of anybody not organizers? Sort of like a back. The Slack will be the back channel, and that'll allow everyone to sort of get direct access to me, and then the Gitter will be sort of around the world chat communication. Does that sound agreeable to everybody? Okay. Great suggestion, Glenn. Any other questions that I can answer?
Last year there was supposed to be a bunch of T-shirts sent out, but we never got any of ours in Australia. Is anything like that happening this year?
I won't lie. I've been super busy. Haven't done any sort of that foraging yet. I think the T-shirts that you're mentioning were coming out of Boku. I was going to ping them and see if they have any availability. And could send them out. So my homework is to get through that sort of stuff, as well as also try to get us discount codes on SparkFun or Seed Studio and that sort of group. So hopefully, but not yet there, because I've had to get JSConf under control and everything else. Any other items?
So we're actually one of our designers did a shirt that we're gonna print for our local one, and if anybody wants the design files for that to print for themselves, like he said, we can share those. He's more than happy to do that.
That's the epic one you put in the Slack room, right?
Yeah, we actually we changed a little bit. We're just gonna put the robots on the front and NodeBots Day and the sponsors on the back.
Awesome.
But I'll drop that one in Slack too.
Could you get that on GitHub?
Say that again?
Could you upload that? I'm sorry. Could you upload that on GitHub?
I mean, I can. Yeah, I can find. I'm sure I can find a repository somewhere to put it in. Or I'll drop it in Slack right now too. The new one that I think we're going to go with. But yeah, I'll make it available.
Awesome, thanks.
Any other questions? That way we can close out right on time, get everyone back to whatever they were doing, possibly sleeping. For those of you who are midnight or now midnight 45. All right, well, if there's no more questions, I'm around all the time, so please hit me up. You probably will be scrambling and hitting me up for serial port support, so that's the thing. If you are going to do some pre-installs and making sure everything's okay, if you can find yourself or bring yourself to use a Windows machine, find a Windows machine, try to install everything. You'll learn a lot, and that way you're not caught off guard. The key symptoms are basically like, I installed Johnny 5 and it didn't work. Just send it right over to us, and we'll get it patched up or moving on from there. So the goal with this, my goal with this, is to have you all have a very fun, exciting, engaging event on NodeBots Day in your own voices, doing it however you feel best doing it. That said, the only thing I'm going to assert is the code of conduct that we use for JSConf and we use for pretty much all things is going to be in effect. Please make sure that your local groups understand that. If any of you have any questions, concerns, or disagreements with the code of conduct, please contact me directly. Happy to go through it. The short version, don't be a jerk, respect everybody, and then that's sort of the only thing I'm going to assert. Yeah, I think it's actually the same. It's actually Conf Code of Conduct is the global one, but I use. I'm gonna link that in there. There we go. There's the code of conduct. If you want to take from that and derive something special or unique for your group, you're more than welcome to. The general ethos, though, should be retained. We try to keep a very open, inviting, and welcoming community in the NodeBots and the global Node community. And so that's why that's there. Shouldn't be too hard. There's nothing in there that really should stand out as like, no. But if there is, happy to discuss it. Any other questions? Yes, you can absolutely create a website for the local event. If you go into the NodeBots Day repository, github.com/NodeBots, we have NodeBots. What we've done historically, so I'm manager of the NodeBots organization. What we've done historically is NodeBots Day was its own separate thing. If you want to have a repo in that organization, the NodeBots organization, let me know your GitHub handle and let me know the city or the region, the locality that you want to have associated. I'll create your repo. Gives you GitHub pages, so you can actually host your local event site on GitHub pages for free, and you're good to go with that. You can also use a website like js.org. You're more than welcome to do whatever you want. If you have your own hosting, also perfectly fine. You don't have to use the GitHub pages. Just, it's an option. Any other questions? All right. Well, without further ado, pleasure. Thank you very much, everyone, for jumping on. I hope this gives you everything you need. If not, I'm around. We also have Friday, and we'll talk then. You don't have if you've been on here, you don't have to do that. Brian dumped his link from CodeMash. Brian's done an amazing job up at CodeMash with the NodeBots event. He documented the bejeebies out of it, which is awesome. I don't think anyone else has ever gone sufficiently far enough beyond just, hey, we did an event. Brian took it and actually did a lot of data around it. So please, by all means, check that out. That's the CodeMash NodeBots documentation that is in the chat window. Hopefully that conveys. If not, I'll make sure to dump it into the links. And yeah, there's that. I don't know, does anyone else documented sort of their workflow in there? I don't think anyone has. I can dump in, so I am the man behind the scenes, the NodeBots event during JSConf. The 4 team members run it day of. I handle all the organization with it. I would not try to recreate a JSConf NodeBots. We have a backstock of stuff that is ridiculous, so you're probably not going to want to go down that path. Suggest using Brian's as the go-to document solution. So. All right. Adios, and thank you.